Your guys against Manhattan had a couple lapses that let the game get closer than maybe it needed to be. Were you happier tonight with the way they played with the lead and were able to extend it?
Yeah, the Manhattan game definitely exposed that to us. It's something that we addressed via film. We just talked about isolated efforts individually and understanding that we're not playing against the scoreboard. It's all about quality. And I think they did a much better job today. The way that we closed out the game is a perfect example of that. And I'm hoping that that is the lesson that is learned, these last two games.
Ron, the three-guard lineup again tonight. And how much are you still kind of finding what you want your lineup to look like, and what does that lineup in particular bring to the floor?
I think that where we are right now is probably what we're settling into. The one area that we wanted to address after we came back from the Bahamas was taking care of the basketball. And I think personnel maybe has something to do with that. So having Rhodey and IMAC and Day handle the ball primarily has been really good for us. I think we went from 18 turnovers to 16 turnovers to 8 turnovers to 6 turnovers tonight. That resonates more of the Virginia way of basketball. Eliminating losing, transition defense. I think we did a fantastic job today again. Back-to-back games and transition. So we continue to stack those behaviors, those habits, and understanding how important those things are, especially as the competition picks up, then we'll have an opportunity.
David and Jen, and then Marcus.
Ron, you mentioned the competition picking up. You now have your first true road game of the season on Wednesday at Florida. Do you believe your team is better prepared for that test than it was when it headed to the Bahamas?
I think every game will afford us the opportunity to get more prepared for the next opponent. Again, we have to remember this group is just kind of starting to gel, figure some things out. As coaches, we're trying to, figure some things out with them as well. And so I do think that the Bahamas trip is going to be one that will afford us the opportunity to step back into a previous experience, playing against an SEC opponent that's ranked in the top 25, knowing the physicality, the athleticism that we're going to face. And I think that if we lock into that and that understanding, I think we'll be much more prepared than we were for the Bahamas trip.
Day was not a big scorer at Kansas State, but he has shot the ball well from the line, from three-point range, and doing some work around the basket. Did you think, when you guys took him as a transfer, that there was more there from him on that front?
Yeah, if you watch Day in high school, he was a really good scorer in high school. He's got the inner city Chicago game to him, which is, it's fun. You watch him, he does some things that are enjoyable to watch for sure. I'm encouraging him, to continue to be that guy. You don't have to conform to us. You be you, and we're just going to put you in space to allow you to do that. The areas of improvement for him are, his decision making on the back end. And again, today he did a really good job of taking care of the ball. I think if he continues to trend in that direction, not only will he be able to score, but I think he'll be able to help others score as well. Tonight again, we had 3 guys in double figures, almost a fourth. And, the offense kind of creates that, where it's a, passing, sharing the ball, cutting type of spacing. And if we continue to mesh all those things together, I think that he'll continue to play well.
Marcus and then Mike.
As a staff, have you kind of solidified what you want your rotation to look like, and are you there? Plus, how are you balancing between what you're showing now during the non-conference and kind of what you're holding back for conference play?
Well, for us, it's really one game at a time. And, tomorrow has enough problems of its own. We're going to focus on today. How can we compete today? If we have something in our arsenal that's going to help us win today, we're going to use it. Good teams are going to scout you. They're going to figure out what you do. We got to be able to execute well regardless of. So right now, for us, the secret to good offense is passing and catching. So we can talk about anything else. We just talk about catching and passing. Catch the ball, take care of the ball, set quality screens, know where your shots are and know what shots you're capable of making and play to those strengths. I think they're starting to understand that. I think that guys are starting to screen a little better. We have a pretty high standard here, and we're not going to lower the standard of quality basketball. Screening, passing, cutting, and the reason we can't lower the standard, regardless of their age, is that when you lower your standard, the truth is you don't really lower the standard. What you do is you create a new standard, and that standard just isn't good enough to compete at this level. So we're going to continue to keep the bar high, regardless of the experience that these young guys have, and regardless whether they're a first-year, second-year transfer or have minimal experience. That's why it is the Virginia way, and that's how this program has been successful, and we're not going to shift from that.
6 and 6 from Blake tonight. What have you seen in his development? What more do you need to see for him to have a bigger impact for you?
Blake's a second year with 35 college basketball games on his belt. He's very young as a player. Blake still has to figure some things out. Blake still has to get in the weight room and get stronger. But right now, we're asking him to make some plays from the elbows, to make some passes. He's a lot more involved in the offense than he's been in the past. So it's a new learning opportunity for him. I think today he took 1 or 2 shots and maybe a teammate was open. But the only way that you can learn that is by being in that position. I think often as coaches, we want guys to do things that they are not prepared to do, and we don't give them the opportunity to grow from those. So for us is put you in a spot, let's see if you can make the right play. If you make the wrong play, we'll coach you to make the right play. If you make the right play, then we'll move on to the next phase. So I think Blake has done a really good job of grasping what we're asking him to do.
You said to Jeff that you were pleased with how you guys closed the game today. Was that the message during that timeout you took with about 12 minutes to go? You looked a little irritated. Holy Cross had just scored 6 consecutive points, and I believe it cut the margin to 14.
Mm-hmm. Well, the question was earlier, the Manhattan game. And again, we had leads and we gave them up. And the timeout was to reference that game, to reference that experience. And we can't continue to repeat behaviors. That we have to, in the moment, coach them. And they responded well. And the other part of that was, as we talked about, effort and it being an isolated thing individually. You have to be willing to be the harder playing guy on the floor, and you have to try to own your matchup offensively and defensively. So the reason they scored 6 points in a row is because they wanted it more than we did. So at that moment, it was a great opportunity for us to kind of hit the reset button, and let's see if we can continue to grow and understand this is the moment that we're in. Let's understand it. Let's embrace it. Let's be here, and let's grow and see if we can improve from them. I didn't know if they were going to get another stop or not. It's just a moment, and you're right. I was not pleased with the effort there.
Okay, 3 more. Take one, Jerry. Back.
Ron, you referenced Day-Day's aggressiveness, maybe even a little nastiness. Would you like, and does this team need more of that? Would you like to see that be contagious amongst your team, that attitude?
Yes, if they can syringe some guys with some of that, kind of nastiness, because he is very competitive. It's just in his DNA. I think we have a couple guys that have more in them. But definitely, if he could become infectious with the team with that behavior, and as a staff, we're asking, him to be that, and asking guys to mimic that. I think it's a great attribute to who he is as a player, and if he can continue to use it wisely, we will definitely benefit from it.
Hey, Sharma got a little more run tonight, I'd say, than the previous games. Were you satisfied with his play tonight?
Yes, I'm trying to recall his plays. He didn't turn the ball over. He took quality shots, and then he created shots for his teammates. He defended well. Nothing really stands out. As you know, we all remember the bad things. But I'm hoping that he can continue to grow because we need him. We need him to make some plays. We need his shooting. We need his passing. He's got really good feel for the game. He understands it, and he does have, something he can hang his hat on, which is shooting the basketball. We just got to get him, to get a few more shots. Unfortunately for him is, he's backing up Isaac McNeely. And so Isaac's going to play. And when Ish gets an opportunity, he just has to, put us in a position where we have to say, wow, we can't keep him off the floor. And that's an individual thing. He has to create that.
Hey, Coach, Andrew Rohde, 13 points, 3 assists, and some other line items there that he's contributing. Is he the most improved player from last year, this year at this point?
Andrew has tremendous self-awareness. He does. I call him. He and I have a little inside joke. Andrew really understands who he is, and he understands his weaknesses, and he actually acknowledges some of those things in the moment during the games. He has improved drastically in some areas, but again, our standard is still a lot higher than that. And I asked him during the game today, do you know why I coach you so hard? And he said, because you want me to be a really good player. And as long as he understands that, then we're in a good spot, And that's what I do appreciate about Andrew. He's coachable. You can get after him, and he's always going to give you all he's got. I mean, he doesn't look like Day out there, but they share similar DNA in their competitive nature.